Afternoon, everybody. Go for it. Okay, so I want to welcome you aboard the NUI Voyager 500 series. You're all very welcome. We're going to take a short flight today to the research galaxy by going through the Milky Way's black hole. It'll be 5-minute flying time, short whistle-top tour. Our first stop today is going to be to Sector 4. We're going to visit the ethics quadrant, and in that quadrant there are 3 planets here which look after ethical advice all throughout the time and space continuum. Our first stop today is going to be to this planet here, which is the largest of the 3, the personal planet. And the personal planet are very much concerned about thinking and planning, about helping you think and plan your research. They want you to look at the right approach to research, being open about it, being honest about it, and adopting the best practice. And they're going to share with us today a hot media case which has just come off regarding an issue which has come up. 2 scientists have just announced, the announcement came through the Wall Street Journal, that they have succeeded in getting cold fusion. Major furore, made the Times, made the Newsweek. Scientists all across the world suddenly went into a frenzy of, what is this, we've heard nothing about it. Experimental frenzy began, suddenly found results weren't reproducible. Things started to happen. They accused the scientists of fraud, of falsifying the data, of why they didn't publish, and a huge mistake was had. The scientists ended up leaving the States. What was the mistakes they made? Well, they did a media release. Now, this was under the pressure from their university, who wanted to patent the results and wanted to get it out there ASAP. They didn't send it to a scientific journal beforehand. And one of the guys, Fleischman, actually admitted after all had happened that he had been overtly covert and he wasn't open about his results. So what is the advice the personal planet will offer? Plan and record, be honest, be open about your research, but most of all, publish it in the right journal. So quickly now we're going to move on to the legal planet, and they're concerned with the laws, and in particular they want to talk to you about today is data protection and freedom of information. And what they want to impress on everybody here is that unlike other ethical guidelines, these are laws, and if you don't follow them, you could end up being prosecuted. They also want to say to you that the laws are different across all the territories, so check your territories. On Earth alone, we have different laws in every country, and in some countries we have no data protection laws. If you're working in multiple jurisdictions, make sure you know what they are. They're going to share a couple of case studies with us today. Some stuff we're familiar with. A laptop was stolen from the National Institute of Health. It contained 2,500 people's data, clinical information data, right down to social security numbers. Now, what was the mistake that they made? Sometimes things get stolen, you can't help it. The data was on the laptops, it hadn't been taken off it. It was totally unencrypted, so we had a major hassle with potential identity theft. But the worst thing from an ethical perspective was it took them months before they notified the people in question. You know, and these guys were lucky they weren't prosecuted. eMobile and Meteor earlier this year were prosecuted when 2 laptops were stolen, which had over 6,000 people's data on it, and a lot of it contained passport data and that. They were taken to the Dublin District Court, and they were prosecuted to the tune of €30,000. So what is the advice the legal people want to offer us? If you have a mobile device, remove your data. Put it on a computer, back it up. If it's on paper, lock it up. But the best thing you can do is anonymise. Then you're quite safe. Our final stop today is at the social planet, and they're concerned with effects of research on others, and in particular the subjects of research, both animals and people. And they're going to show us a couple of case studies today of things that have happened in relation to both. The first one we're going to see is on animal research in the States, where nerves of monkeys were being severed. Funny enough, the Department of Agriculture had no problems with it. The scientist was reported, arrested, and convicted, and then that was reversed, because the laws in the States don't cover research. So, what do we do? What kind of rule of thumb can we follow? In relation to animals, it's very simple, the 3 R's. Replacement, reduction, refinement. Replace the animals if you can use in vivo tissue. Reduce the numbers, down as far as that your results are still viable. Change your practices, change it so they're not in pain. We have a new case here in connection to human subjects. The CIA, they're at it again. They've taken people without their consent, they've given them drugs, LSD and other drugs, to try and attempt mind control. Not only is it unethical, highly illegal. So, best rule of thumb in relation to people, the benefit should far outweigh the risk. And the risk should be no more than it is to somebody's, what they're going to do, what you're going to do to them should be no more than what they're going to get in their normal everyday lives. So, as we slowly come back, we're heading back to Earth at this stage, I'm going to leave you with a couple of final thoughts. If you're not sure, go and ask your colleagues. We all look at things from a very different perspective. We see things differently, we think differently. So go and ask somebody if you're not sure. And I'm going to leave you with one final thought to show you how differently we look at things. Take 15 seconds to look at this and tell me how many faces can you see.